My name is Terence Bellingham. My colleagues at the museum where I work at, the Albany Museum in Makanda, call me Velapi. The collections that we hold that are special, we've got a very good collection of thrips, we've got a very good collection of wasps and bees, and a very good collection of cicadas. These are the kind of the highlights of the collection that I work in here at Terrestrial Invertebrates. I specifically research and work on pollinating flies. Yes, and with regards to manual implementation, my favorite thing about having a manual is you've got something that everybody can refer to, that we can all work from a common, work towards a common goal from the same place using the same set of standards. And it is only me in this entire collection. But yes, manual implementation is going as best as I can, all by myself. Thanks guys, looking forward to seeing you all at the forum. Cheers.
Hi everyone, my name is Somelez Mtua. I'm a curation technical assistant for the Natural Science Collections Facility. I'm working at the Salmon Herbarium. I'm taking images of the plant specimens. I'm doing the data capturing and also doing the physical curation. Thanks.
My name is Pindiwe. I am a production scientist at the Albany Museum, and I'll hand over to my colleague to give a brief explanation of what we do at the museum.
Good. Hi everyone, my name is Musa Mlambo. I am here at the Department of Freshwater and Invertebrates. We are currently working to finalize this loan, for example, of the kind of work we're doing, that we are sending to Europe, in Switzerland, a loan of Betis mayflies. My work personally is on, what do I work on? On various things. Personally, of course, large brachiopods are my bread and butter, but we work to curate and look after a vast collection of freshwater invertebrates that's collected all over the country, and some specimens from outside the country. So yes, I'm happy to have my new colleague here, Dr. Ntogo, who's replaced our former colleague Helen, who's gone. So we are working together here to look after the collection.
I'm Dr. Rob Guest of the Albany Museum's Earth Science Department, and I lead up the Devonian Lab. The department also has a Karoo study group led up by Rose Prairie. Our work at the Devonian Lab is about the rocks from 359 to 420 million years ago. But we have a special focus on the Lake Devonian, including the waterlet farm Lagerstätten, which is one of the most important sites in the world of its age. And that's the site from just outside Makanda, where we have Africa's earliest four-legged animals by 18 million years. And these are very important in understanding the origin of animals coming onto land and their descent from fish. We have a big display on the Walkley farm, and Kekela uses the display to teach school children about that. And we also have Hilo helps with the lab, and so does Sean Johnston. And then we have postgraduate students doing research, including Chris Harris studying the rocks around Makanda, Ron Nels studying arm-plated fishes, and Kate Reddy, who has been studying invertebrates, but will be moving on to studying Lake Devonian seaweeds next year as part of her master's program.
Hi, good morning from Kimberley and the McGregor Museum. I'm standing here on a pathway that leads from our main building, where the KMG Herbarium is situated, to the Duncan Cronin Gallery on my right hand side. And this is a Friday morning, actually a quiet Friday morning, because we are in the middle of the school holidays, but we are so thankful for the past few weeks and months that we had a lot of visitors from the schools and the members of the public. And I want to invite you to come and join me and have a look at our KMG herbarium, our botany collection, and follow me. The Alexander McGregor Museum Herbarium Kimberley, or KMG Herbarium, was founded in 1908 by Maria Wilman, first director of the McGregor Museum. Marie Lodewijk has recently joined us as a volunteer. Here she is busy adding barcodes to our existing specimens. She shows strong attention to detail and has already been a great asset to the herbarium. During the past 12 months, we have focused on the following chapters or sections of the manual. Number 1, collection and data management. The digitization of our existing specimen records using the Brahms database have now been completed. Data is systematically checked, working on one plant family at a time to ensure the highest possible levels of data quality. We have also started georeferencing our specimen records in September using the georeferencing tool, and it's really a wonderful tool that helped us tremendously in reducing the time spent on each record, but also increasing the accuracy of the georeferencing. We have also implemented our integrated pest management plan, which includes the regular checking of our pest monitoring traps. The temperature and the humidity within the collection are also checked on a regular basis and documented. Some of the specimens have been reorganized within the cupboards, and the numbers on the cupboards and their location inside the cupboards have been added to the database for ease of access. Although I have not enrolled for the course, I have tried to attend all the webinars presented these past few months. We all know that well-known phrase on how do you eat the elephant? One bite at a time, but it's sometimes difficult to know where to start. The templates and tables provided as part of the assignments has been so valuable. Thank you so much that we have access to these wonderful resources as well. I want to close with a beautiful quote I heard recently. If your legs are tired, run with your heart. It is a privilege to work with people with so much heart and passion for their work. Thank you, NSCF, for all your hard work and all the support.
Welcome to the Agricultural Research Council Plant Health and Protection Collection. You will find us just off the R573 in Roodeplaat, Pretoria, Gauteng. We have 5 collections: entomology, nematology, arachnology spiders, arachnology mites, and mycology.
My name is Khoto Modise. I'm a research technician at Entomology Unit. Certain protocols are time-consuming with little stuff to implement. The process of implementing policies in the manual, change-resistant culture and attitude, limited staff to implement change in the collection. Webinars are very informative and useful to the collection. Improvement of collection standards, centralized access to data, broader perspective from different collections, enhanced knowledge on collection management.
I am Dr. Chantal Gergen. I'm a junior researcher at the Nematology Unit at Biosystematics. I'm also the curator of the National Collection of Nematodes. In the National Collection of Nematodes, The manual is implemented chapter by chapter, and most of the processes were already in place. The challenges that we experienced was time constraints and the lack of reference to a slide collection. But the manual did give me a better understanding of the collection curation, a better collection management planning, standardization and tracking of collection documentation, and collection workflow activities were streamlined.
Hello, I'm Maggie Manyaza, a research assistant, and I manage the National Collection of Akari. SOPs and related documents were updated, health and safety issues were addressed, updated the disaster management plan, and improved and simplified daily tasks in the collection. Legal and confidentiality obstacles, frequency of the webinars and assignments, highlighted gaps in the current SOPs and related documentation, emphasized good collection management practices, polished team player skills.
My name is Grace Kwinda, Senior Research Technician in Mycology Unit. SOPs are in place, reviewed and amended as the course progressed. Hard copies were printed and filed in the folders. Approval of documents in the ARC may be time-consuming. The diversity of activities in the collections leads to gradually implementation of the manual, but feedback is given to managers on a monthly basis. The course assists us in discussing the manual. It gives us opportunity to ask questions from collection curators. It addresses neglected collection management areas and improve on existing areas.
Thank you from all of us, and enjoy the rest of the forum.
Hello and welcome from the KwaZulu-Natal Museum. In our Natural Science Department, we're split into 3 divisions. The Entomology Division, focusing on flies, the history going back more than 70 years of fly research. The Malacology Division, with the history originally of marine malacology, followed by terrestrial malacology in the last 20 years. And lastly, our General Collections Division. This division focuses mostly on earthworms and spiders, where the collections have a lot of types and a lot of historical research has been done in these areas.
When we started reading and implementing the manual in 2021, the KwaZulu-Natal Museum already had a heritage assets management policy that covers all assets of the institution. The National Science Department also had a collections management policy specific to our collection. Both these policies are reviewed every 2 years. The museum policy already had most of the policies and procedures. We only amended some policies and procedures and created workflows that were missing and were relevant to our collection.
As the museum, we're already doing great. You see, we already had the test traps and the data loggers.
Hi everyone. So basically this is how I use my manual on a daily basis. So I use my QGIS, which is a georeferencing tool, and then to georeference records, and I use OpenRefine to clean our data set. The data set goes to your platforms like GBIF, where we share data in that platform.
I suppose you are the only one here at the museum who does this. So what happens when you leave?
So we do have a manual for that, where it does have guidelines to create workflows. Yeah.
For me, one of the highlights really has been about the support that this manual and implementation has given us to do our work properly, and also feedback to the current collection management policy. The challenge has been though the fact that how do you balance the time to do the course, do your work, while still attending the field trips. The big part that I enjoyed the most were the tutorial and the webinars, because these platforms have been a way for us to connect, although virtually, and learn from one another. In one word, what I can say about this book, it is awesome.
Informative.
Knowledgeable.
Welcome to the Buse Herbarium. My name is Benny Wittebeer. I'm the curator of the herbarium here. We are based on the Pietermaritzburg campus of the University of KwaZulu-Natal. Our herbarium is the fourth largest in South Africa with about 225,000 specimens. We have 3 staff members here, myself, Christina Potgieter, the collections manager, and Prudence Magwaza. Apart from the staff members, we have benefited from interns and project staff, such as, for instance, Sifiso Mnati and Tanya Mate, who have been here to include 4 orphaned collections. Simone Chetty has also been with us for quite a while on various projects. Several of almost all of our interns have found jobs in the museum sector, and some are now based in the Bolus Herbarium, the Moss Herbarium, and even the Kruger National Park.
As many of you are aware, the Buse Herbarium has undergone expansion. Most recently, the funds are being curated and shifted to the Phycology Herbarium. This is a work in progress, and with older collections, there's always something exciting to discover. We were fortunate enough to come across ferns from the 1800s. They are still well preserved and will form part of the iconic specimens housed at Buse.
The implementation of a collection management manual has played a crucial role in the integration of the collection, where we have seen the integration of wood herbarium, click herbarium, condolen herbarium, as well as the former, what we call it, herbarium, being integrated perfectly using the guideline from the collection management manual.
Since our involvement in the collections management and conservation working group, we've actually been implementing some of the collections changes already. We had new blinds funded by the NSCF to prevent UV exposure to our specimens. We've upgraded the lighting sources on our microscopes, and we've also got new visitors kits for visitors that use our microscopes. With integrated pest management, we've tried to trial some different types of sticky traps to see what can work specifically for herbaria, but that's a work in progress. And we also stopped our regular fumigation in favor of rather doing checks and only fumigating when necessary. And then we also control our pest control as specimens come into the herbarium more carefully as well.
I have 20 years working experience in Buse Herbarium. Since I started doing the collection management course, I have a greater understanding for collections care and the risk associated with the collection.
Thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and you will be visiting us sometime soon. In the meantime, please do check out our Facebook page and our website. Bye!
Welcome to the National Museum in Bloemfontein. I will take you through the collections of the Terrestrial Invertebrates Department, which consists of the Agarology, Arachnology and Entomology collections. Our collections are in the basement, and mostly due to the emergency exit, there is a high risk of flooding during rainstorms. Here is the Entomology collection, and Germaine will tell you about the IPM strategy.
Here I am demonstrating how we kill and check for pests. So each drawer is taken out, placed nicely on the table. We also open just to check for damages or indicators. This is done at least after 3 months. Then when there's nothing, we close, we check and we clear out the dust particles. We also put it back nicely, and this is done for each drawer and all the cabinets that are there in the collection area as shown there. We also have sticky traps that are placed against the wall just to also check what is moving in the collection area.
We bought dehumidifiers with funds from the NSCF. Although the humidity in the Free State is not very high, during the rainy season it may increase pretty fast, affecting this dry collection. We also bought humidity and temperature meters. During the implementation of the manual, we realized that our documentation and filing system is not up to standard. All the collections now have files, which include hard copies of the policies we have, as well as SOPs for sampling, accessioning, documentation, loans and salvaging after disasters. Now all this information was in our heads, but it was not written down, which is quite important if there is a fast turnover of staff. We also wrote collections overviews, which are published on our website. Collection object forms and donation forms are also filed in this folder, as well as permits for sampling. This is Trudy Paper, the collection manager for agrology and arachnology. We have implemented a heritage asset movement register placed in each collection for when specimens are taken out of the collection, and it has to be signed back when it's been put back in the collection. And as I said, we've done this for all 3 of the collections. This is Jermaine Magwai, and she's doing the collections management course. Tell us about your experiences of it.
Hi everyone. This course is very informative and helpful. It gives the ins and outs of the collections, and with the webinars and discussion sessions and assignments, it has been helpful in highlighting the importance of collection documentation and how to safeguard them. I've also been exposed to trainings, the specified training, and I've been able to attend the geo-referencing session, and all of those things, they help in terms of my personal growth, and I've been grateful to be able to be exposed with other institutes. So NSCF, thank you so much for the opportunity.
This is the East London Museum. We are a province-aided museum situated in East London in the Eastern Cape.
Hi there, I'm Kevin Cole, a Principal Natural Scientist at the East London Museum. I'm very privileged to curate an iconic natural history specimen, possibly one of the top zoological specimens in any museum in the world, the coelacanth, the holotype. This is the actual specimen that was saved for science by Marge Courtney Latimer in 1938. Distinctive in having limb-like fins, having a very unique tail, armor-like scales that are very rough, and the internal anatomy and physiology is equally intriguing. So we're very proud to have this specimen, a huge draw card for the East London Museum, both for local and international tourists.
I'm Mary Cole. I'm the malacologist and I've been here since 1988. I'm responsible for curation, research and education. Our collection is of mollusks, and we have a wet collection with over 4,000 lots and a dry collection with over 19,000 specimen lots. So altogether we have approximately 130,000 specimens, which is a very large collection in South Africa. I have assistance from several people with the curation and data capture of the collection.
Hi, my name is Lonwabo Pepe. I have a BSc Honours in Zoology. I've been doing the voluntary work at the Islander Museum since May, and I've been assisting the malacologists. We are currently moving specimens from rearranging specimens since they were a bit crowded. Now we're trying to rearrange them. Okay, I've been also working with Mr. Wicker's collection, which the samples are a bit damaged, as you can see. Now the idea is to rewrite their labels.
So my name is Nondobe Kompekile. I'm a library assistant. I have been assisting malacology with capturing data from the collection Lonwabo is working on into a spreadsheet, scanning all the field data sheets, numbering the slide collection, and capturing all the data for each slide.
So for research, I focus mostly on land snails because not much is known about them in the province. And at the moment, I'm working on describing some new species. In terms of the manual, I've been going through the workflows with Mahlatsi and Maxine, and we have identified where there are aspects in the manual that we maybe need to focus on improving. So we've been working through that.
I am Chris Bill. I am the taxidermist here at East London Museum. I curate bone collection and data capturing for malacology onto specify.
I'm Phil Whittington. I'm the ornithologist and curator of the birdskin collection. For the last few months I've been transferring birdskin specimens from our old wooden cabinets made in the 1950s to these steel cabinets which were bought with money sourced by the Natural Sciences Collection Facility. And these will hopefully provide a home for the birdskin collection in perpetuity.
I am Jonathan Bolts, one of East London's conservators. Part of my job function is to ensure the macro environment of the natural history site is looked after. This includes relative humidity, temperature and light exposure.
So the Bolus herbarium was started by Harry Bolus himself, who came to South Africa when he was very young. The Bolus is particularly rich in type specimen, considering that it's actually a fairly small herbarium. On a global scale, we have 350,000 specimens.
The digital preservation of the collection is a major concern of ours at the moment, so this year we focus on the data management chapter of the manual, dealing with all aspects of the capture, storage and accessibility of specimen images and database records. We documented our protocols and produced workflow diagrams for various processes, including specimen imaging, data capture and editing, georeferencing, data publishing and embargoes, and managing data and image requests. We are still suffering the after effects of last year's fire, so a major challenge this year has been ongoing renovations to the herbarium, which has been a cause of major disruptions to all aspects of our normal workflow. Another challenge has been locating some of our important historical documents, like the old accession registers, that are stored in the UCT library archives.
I'm from Amatole Museum. We are in King Williamstown, Eastern Cape. Our museum was called King Williamstown Naturalist Society, and then it was changed to Curation Museum. Then after New South Africa in 1999, we renamed the museum to Amatole Museum, referring to the crafts that range in the mountains. The museum started in 1884 by the naturalists of the King Williamstown. They came together, they formed the society to collect natural history. Then we've got a large collection. We are rated number 3rd in Southern Africa, and also we are rated number 2 in South Africa. That means we've got big collection. When it comes to Melvora capensis, we are rated number 1. If you work on those otters, please come to us. I would love to work with you. And also we've got other animals as well that you can work on, but we specifically work on the land mammals. That is, we focus only on terrestrial mammals. Our museum is known to be a home of Hubeta, which was a wandering hippo from KwaZulu-Natal, St. Lucia, up here. We've got her in our galleries. We've got other big animals like Volsak, that is our Cape Buffalo. We've got elephants in our displays that were collected in Adu Elephant Park. The most person who collected a part of the collection was the curator called Captain Guy Shortridge. And then the collection itself is called after him. And also, the collection, we've got 2 types of collection: the dry specimens, and we've got the wet collection, where we keep our specimens in alcohol. We're using glass jars, of which we transferred them from plastic jars. By the help of NSCF, we are very thankful because we used the plastic jars, which is now in process of replacing everything. And also we've got the wooden cabinets that some of our collection is transferred from the wooden to steel cabinets. And also NSCF came up and gave us some funding for that. And also we've got the fumigation that is happening in the museum. We've got the people, the specialists from outside that fumigate our collection. And we're thankful to the NSCF for that, because we're not only focusing only on the collection, only on mammal collection, but to the entire museum. And as well, sometimes we do our fumigation inside, where we burn pills, where we sprinkled all over so that we make sure that there are no insects that are coming to our collection. We've got some challenges for sure. We have a shortage of staff, and now we have our collection stuck there without having any people who are working on it. It's only me who's doing mostly research. So we need hands to help us to transfer the specimens from the wooden cabinets to the steel cabinets, and also who can take care of our collections. Thank you very much for being there, NSCF, for us, and also we thank the Department of Sports, Recreation, Arts and Culture for giving us some funding as well. Thank you very much. Bye.
My name is Nkosenat Mazungula. I work for the South African Institute for Aquatic Biodiversity, SIAB. I am collections manager of the SIAB's Collections Division platform. SIAB is situated in Makhanda, a small rural town in the Eastern Cape province of South Africa. SIAB is the national facility of the National Research Foundation. We receive a parliamentary grant which is administered by the Department of Science and Innovation.
The Collection Management Center has grown significantly. We have 3 new appointed staff members, which are Thabo Siziba, Pumzandaleni, and Sashni Reddy. 2 of these people will be responsible for the improvement of the biobank. 1 of them will be responsible for the OHS management. The 2 more staff members in the biobank will assist with reducing the workload that we're currently having. Sashni Reddy, who will be the biobank coordinator, will be starting on the 1st of November, and Pumzandaleni, who is the SIAB PDP postdoctoral fellow. Manual implementation in the biobank is not that difficult because most of the things that are in the manual we are already doing. But there are few that we are currently not doing. For example, when the gift is sent to the scientist or student, they do not send the results of their DNA analysis to us together with their publication so that we can have records of them. Implementing the NSCF manual has most of advantages. We do follow NCF manual procedure to send and receive loans, but the only difference is that we don't take pictures of the specimens. We only note it down under remarks whether the specimens is or are in good condition. We email a loan invoices with spreadsheet reflecting the lots to be shipped to borrowers. We only keep hard copies of MTAs in our file. We don't think it's necessary to print the invoice and export permits. Yes, keeping copies of export permits might help as evidence in case one of the documents gets lost on its way to the receiver. The manual requires us to send loan expiry reminders 3 months prior to the loan due date. We are dealing with dozens of loans and some backdates as early as 1995. The manual also suggests that borrowers need to request loan extensions 30 days prior to their expiry dates. As a solution to this, we are currently working on a system that will send a notification to the borrower when their loan is about to expire. This will also enable them to ask for loan extensions, and for those who are eligible, their loans will be approved. The role of the OHS manager is to provide support to the collections manager and his team in the evaluation of safety and health risks and the identification of applicable policies, procedures, and appropriate precautions, which include reviewing safe work procedures and ensuring that they are relevant and fit for purpose. It is to also provide specialist input in ensuring that safety, health, and environmental management systems are implemented at the collections. It is to also provide access to safety records, including training records for field staff. It is to also implement a risk management process and techniques to achieve compliance and minimize loss such as damage to property, illness, or injuries. The overall review of the collection management course, webinars, and tutorials are very good initiative because they help us to see and learn how other museums are doing things, which helps us improve on our work.
Here is a very brief overview of the fossil collections of the University of the Witwatersrand and some reflections on the implementation of the NSCF Collections Management and Conservation Manual. This is the Evolutionary Studies Institute on the East Campus of the University of the Witwatersrand. Here we store some of the largest fossil collections in the world, consisting of substantial paleontological and archaeofaunal resources. The collections are managed by a very small team, namely the curator, myself, Bernard Zipfel, and the collections manager, Sefalani Jira, and also assisted by a team of technical staff, primarily preparators. There are extensive collection storage areas that are rapidly running out of space, and some of the largest therapsid or mammal-like reptile collections in the world, as some of the largest fossil plant collections in the world. There are extensive Cenozoic collections representing fossil material from the past 5 million years. And famously also probably the world's largest hominin collection, consisting of our immediate fossil ancestors and relatives, as well as various fossil primates. This is probably the best facility of its kind in the world. Some of the iconic fossils we have, and quite frankly, there are more than we could mention right here, but the most famous, undoubtedly, is the Taung skull or Taung child, the very first early hominin ever found. Here you can see it being photographed by the NSCF photographer Ilse van der Merwe. And here are the famous Roy dry dinosaur eggs of the species Massospondylus incarnatus. These represent the world's oldest egg. In terms of implementing the Collections Management and Conservation Manual, we have done very well with this for many years, but there are a few areas that we are touching on in more focus. Recently, we were delighted that the policy document of the University of the Witwatersrand for the so-called academic collections has been approved by Senate, and we made sure this is in line with our departmental policy on collections, as well as all the other documents that are involved in our collections. One of the areas of the Management and Conservation Manual that we have touched on is that of ethics, which has become highlighted in terms of the ethics of collecting destructive sampling, and things that come out of the woodwork, like people trying to create passports for some of our hominin fossils. Also, the repatriation of material that has been taken unethically or stolen from other countries. We have also received some assistance from the NSCF in terms of digitization. Here, a really important project, the photography project, where the NSC photographer has photographed all our Karoo vertebrate holotypes. And here you can see the neotype of Massospondylus being photographed. Also, we are receiving some assistance with the very chaotic Cenozoic collections. In this instance, it's the Sterkfontein faunal collections that have been neglected for many years, and we are receiving substantial assistance from the NSCF, and we're able to get one of our postgraduate students to assist us in organizing these collections. We are delighted that these collections are then available for our students, for our international visiting scientists and local scientists, and are available for exhibitions. We are happy to say that the curatorial staff also advanced themselves, and here's Dr. Sefalani Jira on graduation day received his PhD, which has gone a long way in empowering us to take good care of our collections. Thank you for listening.
SANBI, being the hosting institution for the NSCF, has 3 herbaria: PRE, which is the National Herbarium based in Pretoria, MBG, which is the Compton Herbarium based in Kirstenbosch, and NH, which is the KwaZulu-Natal Herbarium based in Durban. All have been member institutions of the network since its inception, and thus were eager to ensure compliance with the manual across all the 3 herbaria. The 3 SANBI herbaria embarked on a journey of the manual's chapter implementation last year. In this video, they will each share their achievements, challenges, and what is still to follow. First up, let's see how the KwaZulu-Natal Herbarium has been doing.
Our approach was to divide the various chapters amongst ourselves. The staff members each chose at least 1 chapter based on their strengths and experience. And thereafter, we organized monthly MS Teams meetings where we would focus on 2 chapters per month. And the chapter leads would present what we had as the KZN Herbarium to meet the standards, and also to identify the gaps based on the NSCF manual. And they would present workflow diagrams as well as documents, and staff members had a chance to provide input, suggestions, and refine the draft. And so far we've covered more than half of the chapters, and we look forward to completing all chapters, at least the first draft of all chapters, before the end of this year. It's been a wonderful experience. Thank you very much.
As a result of our consultations with Audrey Ndaba, it became very clear to us ethics determined not only how we were going to carry ourselves and ourselves within our jobs, but also our attitude towards the responsibility of actually seeing the task of manual chapter implementation through. We had already been addressing the colonial reform issue by both having university students from previously disadvantaged backgrounds for courses with us, and newly delving deeper into school outreach programs. Crucial to both newly appointed and existing colleagues is understanding our policies. This may be the responsibility of the manager, but we shall all now be playing a role by being present in recap sessions as new members are being inducted. Additionally, it was recognized that we do not have a direct ethics policy, so one was drafted.
For plant specimens to be accepted in the herbarium, you need to have the correct permit, land ownership consent, as well as the plant identification form needs to be filled. The challenge could be the process of acquiring the collecting permits, which might take some time, but the permit is a requirement. It is important to have information both digitally as well as hard copies.
The collection care chapter of the manual speaks to the conditions under which the collection should be kept. Having been operational for over a century, we do comply with most things. However, as evidenced by the video, we surely lack in providing adequate space and a clutter and pest-free environment for our collection, despite numerous fumigations now. We hope all these will be resolved by the expected extensions of the building and moving staff out of the collection as suggested in the manual. A workflow for the upgrade and maintenance of the wet collection was also developed. For the KwaZulu-Natal Herbarium, there were 3 risks to the collection that were identified, namely fire, temperature, along with pests and physical forces. A workflow was drawn up for fire, pests, temperature, as well as a checklist for the 3 risks identified. The checklist will be assigned to a person for monthly checks. Prior to the NSCF manual implementation, this had not been done. The workflows will be implemented by the respective teams responsible for that section.
This chapter focuses on issues related to health and safety of the staff or users of the collection to ensure they are protected from injury resulting from their work. The KwaZulu-Natal Herbarium proved to be compliant with the basic steps that are essential for all institutions in terms of health and safety of the employees. To implement Chapter 8 of the manual, I first had to identify the current state of health and safety in the center, going through all the documents to identify gaps and devise improvements to close them. The challenge was to go through all the documents about health and safety of the center, not just the collection in a short space of time. So far, we have established all the management role players to implement and maintain the safety of the employees. A lot of improvement still needs to be done to fully comply with the NSCF manual.
The documentation chapter is a collation of all the other chapters of the NSCF manual, which has been a highlight for me as I am learning more about the herbarium and the requirements of collection activities. The difficulty comes in when we discover the gaps in documentation. But, in the words of Albert Einstein, in the middle of difficulty lies opportunity.
Being a millennial, it is great to see the innovative editorial apps that should be used to edit specimen image files such as Lightroom and Photoshop Creative Cloud. For collection data management, almost all workflows are complete. I am currently reviewing the workflow documents to see where the KwaZulu-Natal herbarium does not meet the standards. The challenges: Brahms 8, which has slowed down data management processes, file storage as images are quite large, and adding metadata to imaged files.
For loans to be sent out, there should be a loan agreement form which is filled, and it's very important to handle loan specimens with care when handling them.
In the pageantry of collaboration, there are no losers. We all win by working and learning together towards a common goal, relying on each other's strengths and lifting the institution's flag high. Being a team is what got us here, and being a team is what will take us even further.
The main challenge to managing data in natural science institutions has been the lack of standards that can guide the development of policy and processes for data management. The purpose of reviewing these chapters is to propose such standards, as well as policy and process guidelines for NSCF.
Sambi Herbaria offers plant identification service to both internal and external clients, whereby the client is given a form to fill in their contact details, the number of specimens that they brought to the herbarium, and their collection given a batch number for tracking. The collection is then taken into the dryer to ensure that it is thoroughly dried. From there to the deep freezer for 72 hours of decontamination to ensure that no insects escape into our herbarium. The collection is then taken through various processes. For thorough tracking of specimens, staff is periodically encouraged to keep all the various documentation of activities taking place in the herbarium. This documentation covers field trip notes, images, loan documents, health and safety reports to preserve and protect our collections at large. These documents are well and neatly kept and should be accessible by every staff member. Data capturing was previously done on Brahms 7 along with the use of workflow and process charts pasted on various data capturers with working stations. We are currently migrating from Brahms 7 to Brahms 8, where staff is being trained on the use of the new database. These trainings are to equip the staff with new knowledge and skills to enhance efficiency on the data management and furthermore to ensure that the stored data is correct and complete. The staff is also encouraged to highlight where they are facing challenges and difficulties, encouraged to share the skills amongst each other that no individual lacks or delays the overall data-related work when using the new database. The trainings are also helpful to highlight areas of improvement to conform with the NSCF manual. Old records from previously captured databases are also revisited to ensure that correct information is transferred and stored into the new database. We verify the physical specimens against the data in the database. We verify localities. We perform data cleaning, georeferencing, and digitization of these specimens and to ensure that highest quality data is stored. We loan out our specimens of good quality to various institutes for research purposes. We keep good records of hard copies to track our incoming and outgoing specimens to these institutes. We keep records of number of specimens that have been sent. We also have description of such specimens that have been sent.
The work of implementing the manual continues, and soon, in the near future, we will be able to report tangible progress. We are also addressing the challenges through various policy reviews and SOPs. Till next time, thank you so much.
Hello everyone, my name is Kolwe from the Compton Herbarium, Kirstenbosch. I'll be talking about the implementation of Chapter 6 at the Compton Herbarium. 3 points I'll be talking about. 1. Physical visit to the collections, including the plant ID process. 2. Skills development program and tools. 3. The loan and digital access to the collection. Decision making of the implementation of Chapter 6 was made during COVID-19 lockdown, whereby there was a limited access to facilities. The decision was made by senior authorities of SANBI with the development of protocols and regulations for visitors to access Kirstenbosch Research Center. The protocols included permission to the KRC building, screening, the online screening, and the general rules. The visitors needed to request the visit in writing, which includes the students and the interns. When they apply to come in to visit the Compton Herbaria, they will be requested to provide the information that is needed for the tracing register and also for the visitors book so that they can be granted the permission to come to the herbarium. The strict and specific protocols were followed during the COVID-19 lockdown to avoid the spread of the virus, and some of these rules are followed for hygiene purposes, limitation to space and health and safety rules, and also to be able to access the collections. The plant ID request processes were similar, but the difference is that the plants will be dropped, specimens will be dropped at the Center of Biodiversity Conservation building. But before they drop off the specimens, the security at the CBS building will call the herbarium coordinator to come and collect the material, also to make sure that the client has all the necessary documentation that is needed to be able to do the plant ID request for them. There has been some unexpected walk-ins. Those walk-ins are requested to sign the register, and they are made aware of the rules when they come to the building unexpectedly. Kirstenbosch Research Center has been running the annual skills development program for the new intake of students. Because of the COVID lockdown, we had to develop the virtual training videos, which are now helping annually, and they are also helping us when the various institutions are requesting for the herbarium visiting tours for the large intakes of the students. Then we give them that kind of videos because they are able to see the whole herbarium, and they're also given the information from the field to the herbarium cabinets. And so it's similar to what they are able to see when they come to the herbarium. The loan or request of the collection is done in writing and is sent to our curator or a scientist with the specific purpose of the request for the loan. A herbarium assistant designated for the loan processing then proceeds with the processes after that loan has been authorized by the curator or the scientist. There has been a new electronic loan system implemented whereby the specimens are sent in an image record form. Compton Herbarium has imaged about 85% of the collections and digitized about 50% of the collections, which will help with the digital access to the specimens. Access to digital collection is made in writing and is approved by the curator. Compton Herbarium has a very good and dedicated team that makes it easy to access the herbarium and the information needed on.
It has been quite a steep learning curve for most of us, with quite a number of added responsibilities for some of us. But I hopefully speak for all of us when I say the end goal is worth it. Therefore, we look forward to any and all critique and suggestions of support from either the Hub or other member institutions. We are of the firm belief that this can only help us grow. Thank you.
Welcome to the Dzong National Museum of Natural History. I am the curator of ornithology here at the Dzong National Museums of Natural History. Our museum is located in Pretoria Central in South Africa and is home to a number of important natural history collections. These include ornithology, herpetology, archaeozoology, Lepidoptera, general entomology, paleontology, coleoptera, small mammals, as well as large mammals. The famous specimen in our museum definitely has to be Mrs. Pless, which is the most complete skull of Australopithecus africanus found in South Africa. Our vision here at the museum is to create sustainable museums which is accessible to all. And today I will be taking you through our exhibitions where we share our collection work with the general public. I'll also be taking you into the background of the museum, our collections, where all the magic happens. And finally, we will be talking about the collection management course, which a number of our colleagues have been attending and implementing in their various collections.
Hi everyone, my name is Matlodi Fortunate Tlabo. I'm a junior curator at the Natural History Museum. So I've been a collection manager for almost 2.5 years now, and I'm also an attendee for the collection management and conservation course. So we were given a manual, and for me personally, the manual came at a perfect time, because that is when I just started with collection management. So it has been very helpful for me being able to refer and then just looking for help on what I can do or what I should do in collection management. And attending the course and then looking at other people's experiences and how they manage their collection, what it is that they do to care for their collection. So the manual combined with the help that I get from the staff at the museum that have been in the collection for the longest time has been very, very helpful for me.
Baywell is located in Gqeberha. This institution just turned 166 years old on the 3rd of September. Our research mainly focuses on hepatology and marine sciences.
Hello, my name is Sibu Mulanda. I'm a collections manager at Baywell. Here's my team.
Hello, I'm Vanessa Isaacs, research and collections assistant at Baywell.
Hello, my name is Bianca Barreto. I'm a research assistant here at Baywell.
Hi, my name is Lihle Machiese. I'm a research intern here at Baywell.
Hi, my name is Someleze Bunza. I'm a research intern here at Baywell.
The Bill Branch Hepatology collection consists of reptiles and amphibians, which are mostly stored in 70% ethanol. Most of the specimens in this collection are stored in different size glass jars, and the big specimens are stored in the big blue drums. And on this other shelf, we have specimens that the curator is working on, different projects. We are also in the process of transferring all the specimens to 70% ethanol, as they were previously stored in propanol. We would like to thank the NSCF for buying us ethanol for this big project. And the curator of this collection is Werner Conradi. Greg Hofmeyer is the curator of the Graham Ross Marine Mammal Collection. We have been busy with reorganization of the stores, auditing and relabeling boxes. So for the specimens in the bottom shelves in the store, we are working on getting caster wheels for easier access of these specimens. And lastly, one of our iconic specimens in the museum is the southern right whale that was harpooned in the Algoa Bay in 1902. It is the last whale that was harpooned just before whaling was stopped in the bay. That's it from Baywell Research. Thank you.